we usually have Sarah talk a little bit about who she is, and I'll jump in, talk a little bit myself, and then we're just gonna go dive in about, who transformation coach Judith Richey is.
Yeah. I'm going to go very quickly. Everybody already know who I am, but just in case, I'm Sarah M. I'm the co-host, and I grew up in Cambodia. I gone through a very challenging time when the communist Khmer Rouge took over Cambodia. I struggled, almost did not survive, but with God's grace, I'm here. So I'm so grateful. That's all I want to say. And I have my book, and it's available on my website, sarahm.com. So that's all. Let's go to Lee.
Hi, okay, so if you're brand new, my name is Lea Tran. I am also a refugee from Vietnam 41 years ago, and we were labeled as boat people. So we escaped Vietnam out of Vietnam by boat, and the great news is I finally, 40 years later, I finally told my story on on my memoir, and also I have told it on the TEDx stage. And next week, well, the following week, I'm going to back to my hometown to visit a 41 years runaway sort of, we move away, and now we're coming back to visit my whole entire family. So hang on, we're gonna have a lot of story when I come back, and I'm so excited. But today, so our lives been transforming at one stage or the other. And, we all have transformed our career, our personal developments, and many different juncture in our lives because we choose to. And today we have our special guest, Judith Richey. And I read a little bit about Judith's profile. She is a transformation coach, just like I am. And she has been through several career paths. And today we would love to have Judith tell us a little bit about who she is and what was her transformation and how she is helping people to transform their life at this stage. Hi, Judith. Welcome.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here. Albeit late, I am here.
It's okay. Better late than never.
That's right. That's right. And I thank y'all both for having me on with you. Such powerful women who are making such a difference in the world. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. So indulge us. Tell us a little bit about who Judith Richey is. And I read on your website, and I encourage you, if you want some transformation, go check out Judith. But from Judith's mouth, tell us who Judith is.
It's interesting you're going back to your childhood home, because what happens in childhood, we take on stories about ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. And you said, we're labeled as boat people. That's a story that the world has made up about you. You may not carry that story about yourself, correct? So we have stories that we make up and that we carry about ourselves. And the story that I took on was, I have to do what everybody else wants me to do. I cannot say yes to what I want for my life. Because if I say yes to what I want, then fill in the blank, right? So it started with, I went to college and I did what my parents wanted me to do, which was train to be a teacher. And then when I realized I didn't want to teach and I came home and I said, I don't want to teach. They said, but we just sent you to college to teach. So you're going to go teach.
Guilt.
And then it was, and here's the track. You go to school, you get your degree, you get your job, you get married, you have kids, right? So I went on the track. And I got my job and I found the guy and I got married and I have kids and I love my children, but I don't have the guy anymore, because he was the guy that checked the box, right? So then I, find myself saying yes to moving, yes to his career, yes to the stuff he wanted, and all the while denying me, because you don't say yes to yourself because you say yes to everybody else, right? Went through the bad divorce, went through the stuff, started a path of trying to figure out what Judith wanted, fell back into the same exact story, met a new guy, did what he wanted, which was, oh, go be a financial advisor. You'd be really good at that. There's nobody in your county doing that. Go be a financial advisor. Okay, yes, I'll deviate from what I'm doing and go do that. So yes to him. Let's get married. Yes to that, which I'm happy. We're celebrating 19 years in 2 weeks. You know, so good things come from this saying yes, right? And one day I looked up after I'd been a financial advisor for about 7 years, and I went, God, you know, I absolutely freaking hate this. I'm so miserable. I was so miserable. I was so depressed. My body hurt all the time. I had migraines. I had insomnia. Our marriage was a wreck. I was just such an unhappy person. And I said, no more, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. I got to go figure out what I need. And it was interesting because I came from a place of, oh my God, I failed, and weakness. And then someone asked me, what gave you the strength to do that for you? And that one question just completely transformed how I looked at life.
Right.
And since that moment, I have been on a journey of personal transformation. And then I have trained as a healer to help other people in their transformative journey, because we don't have to live like that. So that's kind of how I got to where I am.
That is so powerful. First of all, I want to say that it all comes back to the self-worth. When you don't see yourself worthy of pursuing, when you see everybody else is worth more than you do, i.e. your boyfriend, your husband, your kids, you end up resenting everything you do.
Yes.
And I have a very similar path with you. Luckily, I have a guide who's really supportive, and several stages in my life, I walk out of comfortable jobs and doing things. But we evolve. We don't have, I mean, maybe at one point you were happy, I was happy, but my message of transformation is you can always redo everything whenever, right? So I really admire you taking the courage and say that, heck with it, I'm not happy, gotta do something about it.
Exactly. And you know, it's interesting because my husband is extremely supportive of me, and he realizes that our marriage is great. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, perfect. Even with all of the things that go on in a marriage, right? It's still perfect for us. And he says to me now, you know, I'm so glad that you're in this place and that you're so happy. You know, so he sees the transformation as being beneficial, not only for me, but for him too, and for our life collectively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, I love that saying. That's it right there.
Happy moms, happy kids.
Happy family.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. So tell us the healing, the transformation about healing, like what you do. Like, first of all, how did you figure out how to get out of that and heal yourself? And then taking that process to help other people doing it.
That's a great question. So I'm a woman of faith. And when I left being a financial advisor, I literally took a lifetime out, and I just kind of sat on the couch and healed. And I really didn't know what I was doing. So I prayed and I cried, and I did lots of reading, and I did lots of crying, and I did lots of praying.
Which is okay. Which is okay. We all do that.
And I came to a realization when I was getting divorced. I was raised with this family ethos of you don't get divorced, you stay married, right? Again, the stories that we're told, right, that we take on. So I took my husband back. He was having an affair. I took him back a couple of times. I got pregnant. I have 5 children. I had 4 when the divorce started, and then 5th one. I just took the time to go inside and seek the healing, because I went from mom to super single mom with this newborn and these 4 other kids, right? So there was no time for the healing. So here, you know, go 10 years later, and I just did the healing, and it was fascinating because I was doing intuitively for myself what I now do for my clients without written protocols, without training, all of that. Are you familiar with the Claritin commercial where they peel the film back and everything goes
Yes,
does need to be clear?
Yeah, lift the fog.
Yeah, so that actually happened to me. I will remember this forever. I got up off of the couch and the film peeled back and I came back to life. And then I felt the switch turn on.
Oh, wow.
God literally, source, universe, creator, whatever words you want to use, reached over and turned me back on again. I felt it. I'm on tingly right now telling you about it. So that started the journey. And so I started seeking healing for myself, for my daughter. We discovered she had dyslexia. So everything kind of weaved together. I got involved with some natural products that led me here, I did some coaching for an international organization, which gave me some insight to some things. And I met a gal who was one of the other coaches, and her daughter went through some particularly difficult things. And the methodology I'm now certified in saved this girl's life. Literally saved this girl's life. She was self-harming. She was suicidal. She had tried every type of therapy, traditional therapy that was out there. Nothing worked until she found this methodology called healing from the body level up. And my friend called me every month for 9 months and said, you got to get certified in this. You got to get certified. I mean, like every month. So finally a certification class came up and I said, okay, great. I'm going to sign up and I'm going to go and just see what it's all about. It was everything I didn't know I was looking for. And the methodology is beautiful because it connects you with your soul. And all the work we do is from the soul level. There's no conscious work done, unlike traditional talk therapy. We use muscle testing. I don't know, are y'all familiar with muscle testing? So muscle testing, Sarah, you know what it is. It's a way to allow your body to, kinesiologists have been using muscle testing for decades, okay? And if you go to a chiropractor or kinesiology, they're going to use it to find answers, like maybe what nutritional supplements you need or what type of physical therapy you need or whatever. We use it to get answers from the soul. So we tap into that inner knowing, that inner wisdom. And we use muscle testing to guide all of the work that we do so that your soul is directing everything that we do to find, identify, heal and release and clear the wounds that you're carrying.
Very interesting. So a bulk of your client are people who came from a trauma place?
You know, that's a great question and very insightful. Yes. However, they don't realize it's from a trauma. They've got something going on in their life that isn't working for them.
Right.
Like they keep dating the same man.
Right.
You know, his name just might be different. It's the same guy.
Right.
Or they keep having the same issues in their business. You know, they try this company, it doesn't work. They try this company, it doesn't work. And try this company, it doesn't work. It's not the company, it's not the product, you know.
Right.
And the other thing that I have become very aware of, and I don't want to step on any toes here, but I'm going to make a very bold statement, is that mindset work alone is not enough. And I get really frustrated with the mindset gurus because they go out there and they say, just change your limiting beliefs and you'll be okay. But they never tell you how or what's underneath the limiting beliefs.
Right.
And what we do is we get underneath what's underneath those limiting beliefs and we get that cleared, healed, taken care of.
Yeah, transformation comes from the place that you got to recognize what is the problem within yourself first. And sometimes it is hard to see when you're inside the picture. You got to have somebody who looking in and tell you that this is the area you need to work on. So that's very powerful because I think, you know, being a woman with 4 kids and pregnant with 1, with challenging kids and going on a solo journey is something that is unimaginable. I don't even know how, you know, to do it, but you did it. And not just that, but you find a way to get yourself from suffering to healing. So that I was really courageous to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, and the thing that I love about the methodology that I work with is that there's never any reliving of the trauma. We don't go back and assign guilt or blame. You know, it's not, well, my mom did this to me when I was 3 years old, so that's why I messed up. There's none of that. It's just simply an identification and a healing. Identify, heal, identify, heal. And it's all energy work. You know, so we're literally shifting the energy that's fed the story and releasing it and shifting it.
That is really cool. And I'm a very new coach too. I just went through a certification and I learned so much about, they're so different between a coach and a therapist or consultants. Yes. And for me, before this coaching world, they all lumped together. You know, you go find someone and they tell you what to do and then you do it, but you never really understand why you're doing it or solve your own problem. And I love the part that the coach is like, you are the partner, you are actually use the power of question to unearth all the feeling that people are buried inside them and not seeing it. So I think, you know, that is something powerful about a coach, not a therapist, not going to the past and drilling on what the trauma was about, because it is very tough. You gotta go relive those moments, and sometimes that's where you get stuck on. You can't look forward.
Well, and you can become re-traumatized.
Exactly.
You know, and we don't want to become re-traumatized, and it's not necessary. That's the thing about it. It's not necessary. The other thing I love about the work I do is there's a lot of forgiveness involved. There's a lot of men making, a lot of self-forgiveness. And if you're in the space of being able to forgive the other people involved, great, we can do that. And, you know, one of the things I tell my clients is sometimes it's just enough to be willing to be willing.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to force you into forgiveness if you're not even ready, but just be willing to be willing. And if you're not willing to be willing, that's okay. You know, we'll get there too.
It's a slow process. You can't just, you know, not too many people who can just have an aha moment and just being able to transform overnight.
No. And, you know, I've been doing the work since 2008, personally, and then as, you know, a practitioner, and I still do the work for myself. It's on a completely different level now. But let me just give you an example. I had a very dear friend die 3 weeks ago of complications from COVID. And it was just horrible because she was this vibrant, beautiful, awesome person. And she had just gone to Cabo to celebrate her wedding anniversary with her husband. She came back 3 days later. She was diagnosed with COVID, and a week later she was dead. And yeah, it was just rapid. What was particularly difficult is she and I were texting the whole time she was in the hospital until they intubated her. And then, you know, that was it. I had a lot of anger about that. And then I realized, and then that went into my grief, and I transitioned from my grief to my gratitude because of the friendship that we had and the life that she was. And in that process, I identified a bunch of resentment that I was holding. So it was a beautiful opportunity for me to really just listen and be in touch with, okay, I've got this anger, I've got this grief, I've got this compassion, I mean, this gratitude. And, oh my God, look, there's resentment.
Right.
Okay, what is that resentment about? You know, so one of the things I read recently said, you know, some days you just have to fight through the struggle. And I went, no, you don't have to fight through the struggle. We lean in and we listen. What's the opportunity for us there? There's no have to, shoulds, could. What's the opportunity? We have a choice, you know. So I leaned into the resentment and I listened to where it was coming from and what it was based in. And I've been in a cleansing of the resentment process.
Yeah.
You know, and all of that benefits my soul, you know, and then it benefits the people that I'm in relationship with, because it shifts the vibration of the relationship.
It's a lesson we learned that we can pass on to other. I mean,
Absolutely.
You and I have so much in common as far as those kind of aspects. It took me 40 years to write my book to notice that I had a lot of resentment in me that I didn't even know before.
Yeah. I kind
You
of teach
know,
my clients, it's like the Pez dispenser. Y'all know what a Pez dispenser is?
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah, the
Pick
Pez
one.
dispenser with so it's a little thing that holds a little square
People
rectangular,
collect those kind of things.
and you pop the head off and the little candy comes up. Well, you take the candy out, another one pops up. And that's kind of been my experience with doing this type of release work. You release one thing, and then another one pops up, and then you have an opportunity to release that, and another one pops up. Sometimes it's rapid fire, it's close together, sometimes
Right.
it's far away. Yeah,
But I think it is a journey.
absolutely.
Any type of thing. I mean, it doesn't mean that you can transform one time and then be all done and good.
No,
Which
and
life would be that easy? And
but it's fascinating, right? Because I don't know where you are on this, but in my belief system, we're eternal souls. Okay. And so we have opportunities for all of eternity to continue transforming and getting the lessons, right? And so it's fascinating to see what comes up, that we have opportunities to transform through.
Can you share with us what's the latest project are you doing in, or some success story that maybe our audience can get a little hope from whatever the situation they come from?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Two things I'll answer. I've got a webinar coming up that I'm going to launch in September.
Okay.
And I'm specifically working with the women entrepreneurs, because what I have found is that women entrepreneurs are very invested in their own personal development, and they are still believing the stories. And that's what's causing the blockages to their ultimate success. We reach a level of success and then we hit the wall or we hit the ceiling and we're not sure why. And we think, well, if I just recite affirmations, it's going to break that block. Well, affirmations only work when you already believe what you're reciting.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're reciting affirmations, they don't work, or they go to the mindset guru. The mindset guru says, well, you just have to do this and you have to do this, but there's no direction why. So there's no healing. So my webinar is going to talk about how you have opportunities for healing to continue to move up the success ladder. A recent success, gosh, I just finished. That's one of the reasons I was late. I was sorry. I was like in the middle of a healing session with somebody, ending up a healing session. This gal has realized that she never committed to herself. Familiar story, right?
Yeah.
And so she said, gosh, since I had that awareness 2 weeks ago in our session, and we started doing the specific healing to that intention of me committing to myself, she said, it's amazing what's shifting. Her daughter is behaving differently. Okay. When she made that commitment to herself, she's agreed. She's never traveled in her life because she's always had a fear of traveling. She made a commitment to go to New York City with a friend of hers. She's committing to herself. She's even doubled down on committing to more of the process of healing and being even more open to it. She's decided to alter some behaviors that she's fallen into, and some habits that she's fallen into that don't serve her highest, greatest good. Whereas before she couldn't imagine life without that. And now she's like, no, I don't have to do that. I can choose this instead. So it's
excellent.
beautiful.
This is again circulating back to our self-value, because where the tradition and the culture where we came from, when you put yourself first, you're being called selfish.
Yeah. Well, we have that same thing for women in the West.
Women in general everywhere has been cast aside for that very ugly name about you being selfish. You're not worried about your husband, your kid. And that is not true, because when you put yourself at the bottom of the rung, you always have that resentment, because it's there. Trust me, right?
Oh, it is. We have a saying, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly. So when you committed to yourself, meaning that you value yourself at least a little bit,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that is a beautiful story, and we can't talk enough about self-worth. And for women, I think we are a big proponent of putting ourselves last, because we think that we are nurture creature. We like to nurture everyone, and then we end up neglecting nurturing ourselves.
You know, it's I don't know if you ascribe to this, but I have guides. Do you have guides? You know, your guides, your angels and guides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my guides have been saying, get still, get still, get still, get still, get still. And this weekend they went, get still.
With a microphone.
So, you know, yeah. And so even me, you know, who knows, right? Who knows? And I pour out and pour out and pour out. I went on a retreat this weekend, and the message over and over and over was resoundingly, get still, nurture yourself, listen, get the downloads, and then take it forward. You know, same thing, nurture yourself and then take it forward. So,
And it is very, very significantly 100% valid when you take a moment, pause, and reflect to see why you feel that way and why you have that feeling. You know, like, what can you avoid to have that feeling? How can you get it there? So it is absolutely right. And this is also my personal journey. I mean, we used to just chant and pray, but we don't put intention to it. But until you put intention to it, you actually talk to your guide, like you call, then you really feel powerful, because you actually feel the communication process instead of just a one-way, you know, can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this?
right, right. You know, so this morning I started day one of a new habit, which was the first thing I do is not grab my phone.
Mm.
You know,
Good luck. I tried that.
I have the head knowledge that how damaging that is.
I
And
know.
this morning I didn't, and I was like, man, I love this.
I know.
I love this. So tomorrow I'm not going to grab my phone. You know,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was on and off for a while, and I tried to write my gratitude journal instead of grabbing the phone. And I can't say that I'm 100% shake off. I tried to be aware of, and you know, sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning I couldn't sleep, and what do? I check the phone.
yeah. So this morning, and I'm so there with you. So this morning I lead a mastermind on Monday mornings at 7:30 a.m. So I woke up about 6:20 this morning, so I didn't have a whole lot of time. But when mastermind was over, I just got quiet, and I went in and I listened and I journaled. And, you know, it was okay that it wasn't right when I woke up. And that may be what I discovered, that for me, it's not right when I get up. I mean, maybe after my walk, it might be after breakfast, you know, whatever, but just committing to myself to nurture me.
Right.
Yeah.
Just be grateful for what we have. And my thing is shifting too. Sometime in the morning, sometime in the evening. As long as you give yourself like a few minutes a day to reflecting on how grateful it is to be alive.
You know, it's funny, we're having this conversation around gratitude because with my friend's death, you know, I got to this place of gratitude, right? But one of my clients actually told me about this book. It's called 1000 Gifts. And I ordered it, and I'm not through it, but the woman's whole conversation is about recognizing where she has gratitude in her life. And she talks about keeping a notebook with her all the time. And every time she finds something she's grateful for, she just writes it. You know, like she might be in the middle of, this woman is a farmer's wife and has a lot of children. They homeschool and all this stuff. She has a different type of lifestyle than I do. But so she talks about, you know, I'm washing dishes and I see the soap bubble come up. So I go over to the journal and write, my gratitude for seeing the
Yeah.
soap bubble fly up. So interestingly enough, isn't it beautiful how this all works out? A friend of mine, we had lunch together. She brings me a little notebook and it's covered in this beautiful fabric that she designed. And I went, well, there's my gratitude journal. And so I
There you
texted
go.
her and said, here, here's how I'm going to use this. And so I have my little journal in my purse and with a pen attached to it.
Right.
So, at any moment I can grab it and remember the gratitude. So it's just, that awareness.
Little things.
Yeah,
And
it is. Yeah.
Yes, Sarah, you would say something?
No, well, I just want to say that the way that we know our value, our self-worth is, yeah, gratitude is one thing, but also to give enough time for us to heal ourselves.
Yes.
So that is the way
Yeah.
that we express value for ourselves.
Yes. Yes.
Anytime when we were young, I think a lot of time we just go on. We're just like a bunny rabbit without any stopping point. And I think, as age add on, we become a little wiser. We
Yeah.
stop.
You'll love this. Both of you will love this. I was working with a client, just her second session, and something had been identified. She goes, no, I've dealt with that. And I said, I don't think so, because it's showing up and you're muscle testing that this is the direction she needs to go. Well, yeah, I dealt with that. I blocked all that.
Denying. You cannot solve the problem when you don't accept there's a problem.
That's correct. And there's a difference between blocking and healing.
Right.
You're just laying on the layers. When you block it, you're just
bandaging it
down. You're just, pushing it down.
Right.
But the healing is identify, heal, release.
Mhm.
There's a big difference. Yeah.
Well, this is very fascinating, and I love your story. So,
Thank you.
so your last word for our audience, what is one thing they can do to boost up their self-value, their self-worth, something that they can do right away?
So, and I love that question. So this one's really, it's simple and difficult at the same time, but oh so easy once you get into the habit of doing it. And it's all about when you have that feeling, that feeling, and the positive ones, we just, hey, yay, we feel good, we enjoy those ones.
Yeah, celebrate. Yeah.
It's the negative ones where you feel like your throat is constricting because nobody hears you, you don't have a voice, or your gut is hurting because you feel like you've been wounded from something somebody said or did, or your heart is breaking because of the sorrow that you're feeling. Instead of ignoring those physical manifestations of the feelings, pay attention to those feelings and pay attention to where they're lodged, and then go back and associate, what was I feeling when that physical feeling, what was I feeling in my soul when that physical manifestation happened? And you'll start connecting to what you're actually feeling. We spend so much time not feeling. And when you can start feeling, that's the step toward healing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great suggestion. Identify that feeling and what caused it. Because I think, when you can trace back to the origin of that feeling, that uncomfortableness, that heavy chest, that very disturbing mind, usually there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, and
insecurity or, shame or, all kind of stuff.
And we do so much in our culture, and it's worldwide. I mean, we do so much. We become a workaholic or an alcoholic or a drug addict, or we use numbing agents, or we watch TV, or we, whatever we do to avoid feeling.
Here's another thing before we wrap up, I know I'm throwing in the wrench. We're supposed to wrap up.
We can talk for a while.
We can talk, right? We use our show. But anyway, I'm just kidding. The other thing is people stop doing that because the society keeps saying, come on, move on. You're done with that. Just, stop being a victim. It's like people don't encouraging you to find out the reason. And we are in a fast-paced society. Just keep moving. Just keep moving. Doesn't matter if you hurt. Just keep moving.
I literally had someone say to me 3 weeks after my husband left me, 3 weeks. You're still upset about that?
Oh, yeah.
3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a society. That's why, you know, you got to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anybody else. I mean, whatever's right, take the time. It could be 3 weeks that you heal. It could be 3 years. It could be a long
30
time.
years. It could be 30 years. You know, I was walking out of my office here. It was about 6 or 7 years ago. And I've done a lot of forgiveness for my first husband. And I thought I'd done all the forgiveness I needed to do. And I took a step outside my office and something dropped in and I went, really?
Yeah.
Really? I got to go there again. And it was such a deep level of forgiveness that I had not gone to, you know, but I knew to listen and to be aware.
Right.
And, you know, so I went there, I went into that level of forgiveness. So, you know, we have
Sometimes it does take somebody else to tell you or to guide you to that feeling and then to find out the reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is
So-
what I do with my clients. I guide,
Right.
that's exactly what I do. I guide them and help them relate to that.
Well,
Yeah.
so with that, thank you so much for being here with us. And if people
Thank
want to talk to you, where do they find you?
Thank you for asking that. I do want to say thank you again for your graciousness and your grace about me being late and having all
Oh,
the
no,
time.
it's okay. It's okay. You're
It's all
here.
worked out. So my website is judithrichey.com. It's RICHEY, judithrichey.com. You can email me at judith@judithrichey.com. I'm on Facebook, Judith Richey Force for Transformation. So you can connect with me there on my business page. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.